So welcome everybody. Happy New Year. Hope you had a wonderful holiday. I am Jan Lehman. I'm the CEO and visionary of CTC Productivity. We are all about productivity. We say we help companies create a culture where productivity fuels happiness. That's our end game, is to reduce stress and increase people's happiness in their jobs. And you've joined our webinar series. We've been doing this for a number of years, and I'm really excited today. We're going to have Rafe with us, one of our amazing team members, and we're going to be talking about Microsoft. Now, Rafe, I forget the name. Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Rafe has given me an education about all the different language within the Dynamics world. So we're going to be talking about basically Microsoft CRM tool is a good way to say it. And we're excited that you're here to listen. Next, in our next webinar, which will be in 2 months, we're going to do something really crazy different. So normally for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been doing Microsoft 365 webinars, but we've actually decided to pivot and bring in some of our other services into this webinar series. So next webinar, we're actually going to be talking about effective delegation, which is a soft skill that you can use to drive productivity. So I'm really excited for that kind of pivot, to see who will show up for those calls and all that. So that'll be fun. And I'm going to enter into chat. I lost my chat. Where did my chat go? Somebody told me the other day they loved our webinars because they were casual. And I'm like, well, good, because I'm messing stuff up today. So there we go for casual. I'm entering into chat a number of links that you can click on to sign up for the next webinar. Also look at past webinars, sign up for our YouTube channel and bunch. Or if you're interested, here is our QR code. You can also scan that. And I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I'm going to cover a little bit of information at the beginning, and then we'll turn it over to Rafe for the deep dive on the dynamic CRM. So if you're new to our webinar, I always like to make sure you understand why you're here and what we're about. So we're here to help really companies leverage the power of the Microsoft 365 suite. And what we always say is, if your organization is struggling with any of these issues, you should definitely be looking at Microsoft. Whether you would hire us not to help or not, definitely if you have these challenges, we would encourage you to explore the Microsoft 365 suite, because it really is significantly driving productivity. And we always like to share a case study at the beginning. So I'm going to share a case study about Dynamic CRM and some other tools. This is one of Rafe's clients. It's been a while since we've continued working with them. But their overall challenge was they wanted to grow. So it was a wealth management company, and they wanted to significantly grow. They wanted to leverage their Microsoft 365 investments. And they had a failed rollout of Microsoft Dynamic CRM earlier, working with other organizations. And then they had, I think it was, Rafe, wasn't it just like one remote staff? I think they had just one remote staff person that just wasn't really in the fold, and they weren't really leveraging them. So there were some productivity opportunities there. So the solution is, one, we did a retainer model with them, which they loved because it gives lots of flexibility for what we can work on. Rafe and his team configured Dynamics exactly how the client had envisioned. And then they started to explore some different apps that at the time were kind of little unknown apps like Loop, but more and more people know about Loop. As far as the results, I love this. I'll forever remember this. Doug told me that you could spend, he said they answered a question. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot talk today. I can tell it's the holidays. What the client said is that our team answered the question in 1 hour that they've been researching for like 6 months or something like that. I think, Rafe, they told you that and you passed it on, which I just love. We set up a number of customized workflows. We set up a number of automations, like when the client passes, and streamlined data entry for onboarding the employees. The team looked at and helped them leverage Loop. Rafe always says it's OneNote on steroids. I love that, Rafe. It's just always in my ear. OneNote is not going away, but Loop definitely has a place. Rafe always explains it as kind of web parts, and so you can pull it into other applications like Dynamics, the task management tools, Teams. So it's got the one piece of information in one spot. You maintain it there, but you can pull it into a number of the other platforms. And so working with Loop definitely helped the other team member become much more efficient. They also were exploring and helping them understand how to use Copilot. So teaching Rafe and his team were teaching them how to prompt and create scripts, how to populate information from client meetings to make it less manual. And then Doug had been writing a number of white papers, and he was now using Copilot and doing it in like half the time, which was really cool. So we always like to share the ROI from the work that we do. So it was really about $14,000 that he invested in helping leverage 365. No ongoing costs because they already own Dynamics and things like that. And he said that really they went from client onboarding going from 30 minutes to 30 seconds, and from behind the competition to leapfrogging over the competition. Again, some just really great quotes there. So awesome. Anyway, so hopefully it helps you see some of the power that comes from leveraging the Microsoft suite. Now I'm going to have Rafe step in and I'm going to run his slides. This will be fun.
Oh, good, Jen. Don't worry. You're on point. We'll get it. It's going to be a perfect call. Thank you so much for having me back. And it's actually exciting to be here because in the previous calls, if you've been on the other webinars with CTC, I've been the person that was talking about Copilot. Well, the great thing here talking about Dynamics is it's been around for quite a while, right? So you've probably heard of it before. It's thrown out there quite a bit. It's gone through a lot of iterations, especially looking at over the past 2 to 3 years. It's really found a home in Microsoft 365, where in the past it really was kind of on its own little island. I get a lot of questions about it. Really today we're going to be focusing on the Dynamics 365 CRM component. We'll also be looking at the sales component as well, as they do go hand in hand together. Before everybody hopped in here, we were talking about Dynamics, and it's one of those things that people don't usually switch over to Microsoft just for Dynamics. It really serves as that piece of the puzzle that fits in as you start using the Microsoft 365 environment for your emails, for Teams. Maybe you're storing files within SharePoint, and then you go, well, maybe we have another system out there. Is there a way that we can combine a CRM? Is there a way we can combine a sales pipeline? Can we send out emails, track all that in one centralized place? And that's where Dynamics comes into play here. So when you're looking at why might I want to use it, what would really cause us to look at Dynamics as a potential solution is if you're dealing with fragmented data systems. Now, this could be fragmented in considering where are you storing your leads, your opportunities, your sales? Where are you storing your inventory for devices? Maybe you're looking for a ticketing system, all being in different places. Dynamics can really encompass a lot of different functions and tools. And really that's a benefit of it is you can customize it to make it really fit whatever solution or need that you have. Downside is people sometimes don't even know that Dynamics can do that. They're not sure. So if you have any type of, let's say, database, whether that's currently in an Excel, maybe it's currently in an Access database, which still shows its head around every now and then. Dynamics can be that solution that you can plug in and have it natively connect to your email, track it all in one place. If you're saying, well, maybe our staff are selling deals, but we're not having a way where we can display it, having a single source of truth, I like to say, for everybody to go in and see what is the latest update on this. Do you have that place? If you do, great. If not, Dynamics can service that. And we can really plug in other tools within the Microsoft world like Power BI. Maybe we want to bring in some beautiful dashboards, bring in some graphs, have a place for everybody to see the trajectory as well as where you've come from. That's another pain point that I hear. Also, I hear one for inconsistent customer service. So maybe you have one person that is getting all of the customer service emails, tickets into one inbox, and nobody knows what's being done. There's no notes being added. Things are falling through the cracks. Well, Dynamics says, maybe we want to have your clientele, whoever you're working with, send an email in. Dynamics tracks it, keeps those responses all tied to the same ticket. You can now create new activities within one place, assign them out. If you get a phone call, you need a place to track those as well. Keeping everything within one portal can really help you up your game. Dynamics solves for that solution as well. And with scaling, many times in the example that Jan was lovingly sharing with us with one of my favorite clients here is that they had Dynamics already, but they didn't have it set up correctly to really meet all of their needs. With Dynamics being what I like to call more of an open-ended solution where we can put in automations, we can customize it, we can make it look as pretty as you want. And whether you're starting with 10 clients or maybe you have 10 million clients, Dynamics has the scalability to really meet all of those needs. And as we're going, and whether we're working with you for a couple of months or for 3 years, like we have with that client from before, there's always new things we can add, which Dynamics gives you the ability to do that. So if you're looking at something that's going to carry with you throughout the years, these are pain points. Dynamics can solve them, and specifically the CRM and sales component here. So all of this can be done. Let's go to next slide. Why people choose Dynamics. So there are many, many softwares out there. Just to name a couple of them in no particular order, you've probably heard of Salesforce. You've probably heard of HubSpot. You've probably heard of Zoho. You've probably heard of Monday. Throw all of those out there. There are some really good reasons that you might be using them. If you haven't taken a look at Dynamics, it's something I would certainly recommend. And being on this call today, hopefully it has piqued your interest just a little bit. Dynamics is going to provide that sales workflow, and I'll show this in just a little bit in the wonderful demo that we're going to walk through today of having a nice, beautiful pipeline, whether that's going from leads to opportunities to won to close deals, having that track all the way through the sales lifestyle here. This is what's going to help you with it. Improved customer retention. You're probably already communicating with customers via Outlook, through your emails. Maybe you're even sending Teams, which is becoming a new and modern way to send those instant messages back and forth. If you're already on the Microsoft 365 environment, it is such a native and built-in integration where you email someone, there's a contact name, it automatically connects them together. Imagine how much that can empower you, maybe as a manager, to see what your staff member are doing below, just as well as an organization to make sure you're all moving in the same direction and you know exactly where everybody is falling within your sales pipeline, improve that customer retention. And that's not even considering maybe you have the ticketing system built in or the other little plug and play models that we can add in there. Real-time business insights. So this is on your mobile phone. This is on your desktop, in your internet browser. As you'll find out, and if you've attended any of our trainings, I am a wonderful Microsoft fanboy. But that being said, if you want to use Safari, Firefox, Chrome, whatever internet browsers, or your mobile, Apple or Android here, you can still access it when you're on the go and get that data when you need to, as long as you have some type of internet access. It is also natively embedded within your Microsoft login. So that same email you use to log into your email, your Teams, your Word, same one that you'd use to tie into Dynamics here, as it is all connected within the Microsoft suite. Automation and integration. And this is really a fun one where out of the box, when we go ahead and stand up Dynamics, if that's something you decide to go through with, we have things like sales, we have our different types of accounts, leads, opportunities, contacts, but there is 1,000,001 different things we can do based off of the if this, then that. We can make sure that it really fits your need, whatever type of work style you have. And that's where we really get into the fun parts to say, now let's take it one step further and make sure it's meeting those unique needs that every single company has built in with Microsoft and included with the licensing. So you're really not paying anything else to use these really fun automations. And of course, AI, have to throw it in there since it's everywhere now. Copilot natively embedded as well. So that's why people choose it. It does tend to be very well integrated with your current Microsoft suite, Copilot, all the fun things there. And what it delivers is that single source of truth, as you heard me say, so your staff members could go and see exactly where your clients are, what has been the recent or most follow-up on them. Maybe you also want to have the previous invoices attached to them in the PDF document, having one place to look at to find it all. That is what Dynamics is going to give you, with a scalable system to hold 10 million documents, files, records, all of that baked in. The automations, this is going to be using Power Automate. So whether you've built some automations in the past, you can use it within Dynamics, or you can have one of us here who have been doing it forever. Make sure that you get those needs, whether it's a daily cadence, whether it's automatically. Someone creates a new lead and you as the sales manager need to know about it. We can build it. Doesn't take too much time and saves so much in the long run throughout the course of a month, year, down the road. The real-time dashboard. So data is great looking at it in the rows and columns like in an Excel, but how do you really translate into someone that may not be as mathematically inclined? Someone that is looking at the broader forest level view of the organization that says, I need a pie chart. I need a wonderful line graph to say, are the sales going up? Are they not going up? And then we now need to have a different conversation. So whether you're brand new, loving technology, whether you are someone that says, I want nothing to do with technology, well, that may break my heart a little bit. That being said, we can still make it appear in a way that will get that point across with the data that's stored here within Microsoft and Dynamics. And we talked about the integration, scalability. There are some third-party tools that can connect in, but by default, email, Teams, phone, those type of things embedded in here and really get you off to the races much faster than if you were to build something from scratch. On top of that, having people log in, they know their username, they know their password. It's a Microsoft tool, so if you know how to use some of the other apps, a lot of the different 3 dots, for example, meaning more options, clicking on it, it does become that native solution for you, carrying across all of the other tools that you're using on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, everybody, feel free to ask any questions. You can unmute yourself or you can enter it into chat. So we'd love to have you ask.
Yeah. And here, impact you can expect in 90 days. And I specifically chose 90 days because when I've talked to many different organizations out there that look at implementing something like a Salesforce, right? It's a really large known tool out there. It costs quite a bit to get it in there. It can take you 6 to 8 months to get the system in place, get your data moved over. So that's a pretty long time frame for the large investment that you're putting in. Something like Dynamics, where we can spin it up in your environment that already exists, make sure that security permissions are put into place. Within 90 days, we can absolutely having a working example model built so you can get your hands dirty, right? In a good way. So you can get in there. From there, we can then look at what type of improvements, what type of automations, what can we do to customize the system even further to make sure it meets your needs. So out of the box, which is an expression you might hear quite a bit. So once we get it plugged in, then 90 days, get some data in there, you are off to the races using it, and then customizing and making it better. So it's not that long. It's included in here. Some of these tools like Dynamics do require an additional license, but it is as simple as getting the license, putting it on your user, standing it up. So you are off to the races. It's not too difficult to do that. You can also look at the forecasting. So with the licensing, with what you get and what I'll be demoing today, one license covers all of that per each person. So you know exactly this is how much we might have to pay. And I think if we ever do get in the conversation of the licensing costs, which I could probably spend about an hour going through just with that. Don't worry, I won't bore you all of that with today. Note that it is very scalable, and it actually turns out to be a lot cheaper than a lot of the other third-party tools out there. So happy to have that conversation in more depth later on. The improved customer satisfaction, knowing that you are up to date, you can respond, you see everything in one place. That's going to be happening as emails will be flowing in. Don't worry, we don't have to have every single email flowing into the CRM here. For example, if you're talking to someone that's more confidential, we can choose what emails come in and out. So it's still just like almost everything in the Microsoft world can be highly customized to make sure it fits your need. And on top of that, reduce administrative work. Everything's in one place, the single source of truth. You as a manager can see it, you as your staff members, building up that collaborative type of environment that you've come to know from Teams, email, just working as an organization overall. If you don't currently have a CRM, have a sales system, time to put that in there, and hopefully we can get you more interested and looking into Dynamics today. And additional functionality, because wait, there's more, as there always is here. So looking at the customer record, showing all the history in one place that stays around forever. So whether it's a contact, a customer you've had for a year, whether it's one you had for 10 years, all of that historical information is coming in, tying to that record automatically. So there's nothing that you really need to do from your end. That email tracking. So whether you're sending an email out of Outlook or whether you're receiving an email in, that is automatically tied into the record, tied to that history, where then you can create action points off of. So do you need to create an activity? Do you need to go assign a task for one of your staff members to follow up on them? Having that one place, instantly coming in and out, connected by default, certainly helps us get up and running much quicker. Call, meeting, and logging. So whether it's a Teams phone call, whether it's a call from your cell phone, your work phone, whether it is just a Teams meeting that you had, all of that can be recorded within one place called the timeline, which I'll show you coming up, showing all of the different activities for that person, one glance to see every single touch point that you've had. In some of these cases, if you're using your cell phone, for example, you will still need someone to add in that record because the data is only as good as the person entering it. But having them go to that one place, you can copy the link, send it to someone to say, make sure you put in your ticket, make sure you enter that record, helps you log everything as you're moving forward. And think of a brand new staff member. Having them go to one place to see all that history certainly can increase onboarding or decrease onboarding time and increase their satisfaction as an employee overall. And then the dashboard, see throughout the process where someone is in the pipeline. Maybe someone didn't follow up with them in the last week. Go ahead and do that to try and push them across the finish line. There's so many functionalities, and usually when I'm talking to organizations, we can find a way to bring in other pieces as well. So by no means is this the end all be all, just what I had here to kind of get you first looking at as that full-fledged system for CRM, for your sales, for inventory. And really, we've had organizations from financial advisors, I've had software companies. I've actually recently been helping a healthcare company as well implement Dynamics. So it is built to be used across the spectrum of all of the different types of industry verticals that are out there. Can we make it fit what you need? Most likely. Having that call, we can usually get to a really good solution within 15, 30 minutes, just talking and making sure that it can meet your needs. All right. So, do I have some time for the demo?
Yes, you're good.
I've been trying to move fast, and I know I'm speaking quickly.
No,
really
it's all good, Ray.
It's one of these tools that you really need to see it to believe it.
We can see your passion. That's good.
That's what you're going to get for any webinar I have, right? We try and get you excited, and I know it's near lunchtime, so I can't have anybody fall asleep on me here. But can you see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up, a yippee, a yoo-ha? Woohoo! Perfect.
Good.
All right. So the first thing I'll say is this is a demo environment. So don't worry, I'm not sharing any customer data. There's nothing confidential here. This is what Dynamics CRM and sales looks like. And this is the environment that you would receive out of the box when we stand it up or implement it for you. By default, on the left-hand side, similar to almost like the Teams where you see your chats, you see your channels, your calendar, if you're familiar with the internal messaging system within Microsoft, we have our left-hand panel that will let us look at all of the different tables, the databases, the data that's stored behind the scenes. So you're going to get accounts. Well, an account here in this case would be the organization. Maybe it's your client that you've been selling doodads and pieces to for years. That would be the account. Underneath that, you would have your contact. So in this case, the contact would be who is that main person at that account that if we have a question, if there's something we need to reach out to them about, you can click on, you can view them, you can send an email directly from Dynamics. So accounts are usually going to be on the top level. You have your contacts below. As emails arrive in, because there is that native integration and functionality, those emails appear. They can appear under the account. They can appear underneath the contact here, automatically showing up. These would be for maybe existing customers you have. If someone is maybe reached out on your web form that you have, or maybe you have hired a new salesperson to say, go after these targeted organizations, those would fall under leads. You would have your opportunities. Leads go into opportunities as you qualify them. You can even keep track of your competitors. Maybe you want to have information about them. Maybe if a competitor wants a deal from you, you want to keep those notes in one place. It is serving as that full functionality area where your sales team as well as your customer service team can get in, single unified environment. There is the ability to add in things like quotes, orders. You can have marketing lists. So maybe you need to do an email campaign for everybody that's in the state of Minnesota, for example. It gives you the ability to filter, show that down here. There are so many, we can build custom tables. So maybe you want to add in an additional piece here. This is just the out of the box experience. And I want to give you the kind of look, feel of how it appears. We can add your logo in the upper left. It has me logged in. I have Teams natively embedded in. I have Copilot, my AI, to say, what sales accounts do we have in the state of Illinois, for example? Those are the type of questions you can ask. It's bringing in together all of those different fields, and let alone we can visualize it as well. Why I don't like to get into each individual piece here is every company I've worked with, and we've had people that have worked with us specifically to say, I have Dynamics, it's not doing exactly what I needed to, or it just wasn't built in a way that I like. So we can customize almost any of these pieces here. And it could be something as simple as, I had one company that didn't like the word accounts because it sounded too formal. So they wanted to rename accounts to show as our customers. That's easy as well. So all of these pieces, you get the flexibility, you get the freedom, and don't worry, no task updating here is too small. We want to get you to really start enjoying the system, using it. And the more you do it, having the information in one place, you're really going to start to see all of the pieces coming together. So here I just have another view that I have trimmed from the left-hand side because some organizations won't use the quotes, use the orders, use the marketing list. So it's flexible, scalable, as we mentioned, to really show you what you need. And here, for example, I have some demo accounts where I can click into the record. I can see all the notes, see the timeline, see if any emails came in. Maybe there is additional information you want, like how large is the organization? How many number of employees? Maybe you want to say, this is how many years we've been in business with them. Maybe you want to say, we also need to store their social security number. Now, should you store something confidential like that? Maybe yes, maybe no. But just saying, if you need new fields added, removed, calculated, custom columns, these are all things that we can do. And maybe we also want to attach a ticketing system because that's how you respond to people via email. There's so many different add-ins that we can play in here. It really is that open-ended system, yet still giving you that basic functionalities, features. And the good news is, as you see, we're moving through the different pages here. There is a similar look and feel. Once people start using it, they tend to pick up on it quite quickly. And then from there, we're ensuring that they can use it. It's easy. And this is not even looking at the files that we can store behind the scenes. Looking at, do we want it to talk to other third-party tools? We can do that as well and keep everything moving forward. I can't just talk about all the benefits. I'll talk about some of the things that I usually get complaints about and why I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I like to be upfront. If anybody knows me, I am nothing but honest here. Things like branding. So you may notice that as we're walking through, we have this traditional kind of gray colored background that we don't have the ability to change. So if you absolutely hate the colors, I'm sorry, not too much I can do about that, but sometimes I hear about it. And of course, we usually get over it quite quickly. There is the ability for us to add in emojis, fun things. So we can keep it excited or plain business professional as you prefer. The other piece that I'll hear sometimes is it can be hard to really figure out how to work in the back end of it. The good news is that while it does have its own little language, it has its own user interface for building it up. When you work with someone like CTC Productivity, having me jump in there to help you, I am happy to kind of show you how to do it, build it together. I also love to do working sessions. So we'll get on a 1-hour call together and you'll give me the changes. You'll see me sharing my screen and building it together because we want to make sure that this tool, Dynamics, if you're going to implement it, serves your needs. There's nothing worse than you spending, tens of thousands of dollars, which is really easy to do on CRMs and technological systems like this, to not get to the end goal that you need, to not have all the features that you're looking for, and then just say, here's your tool, here's your application, sink or swim. That is the last thing we want to do. And I'm sure Jan will talk a little bit more about that as we're closing here. But we want to ensure that we're building it together. And it really can become this system that's alive. We're changing it as we go. If you have a different business need, for example, there was a company I was working with that has a new program that they want to implement it. We need a new table. How do we fit it in? We can easily add that in there, which lends itself to the flexibility, scalability of it to ensure that you don't need to go off platform. You don't need to go to another tool, and we can all keep it within the same place. So this is Dynamic CRM. This is, a basic feature here. As we talk more and more, we can go into your unique needs, how we can build that up. But 9 times out of 10, I can almost guarantee that there's a way we can build it to fit and suit the needs that you have.
Great info, Rafe. I'll just wrap up and then we will go ahead and stop sharing. I'll go ahead and share and then we will open up for questions. You guys are a quiet group though, so start thinking if you have any questions. If you don't, it's totally fine. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. So a couple last things. You seen the PowerPoint okay?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So a lot of times people stumble upon our webinar and they're like, who is this company and what do they do? So just quickly, we are Microsoft 365 consultants. We help companies leverage the software you're currently paying for. Our goal is to augment your current technology groups, whether they be internal and external. And depending on where you are in your Microsoft 365 journey, we might come in at a different point. If you don't have your foundation set up properly with Teams and SharePoint, we always want to start there. So we would start in the assess phase where we'd peek under the hood and look at everything set up. If necessary, migrate, move things. And then that's when we get to go into the fun stage of optimization and leveraging tools like Copilot, the task management tools, Loop, and all the other wonderful apps that sit on top of that foundation. And then our intention, our business model is definitely not to have you be dependent on us, but actually to be there to help answer any questions you have around the Microsoft suite. We have different approaches we take related toward the successful adoption of the software. One of the biggest things is really configuring the suite of tools to meet your business processes and workflows. Every company is a little bit different, so we've got an approach on how we do that. Just a reminder again, the session in 2 weeks is going to be, or 2 months. I am totally off today. The webinar in 2 months is going to be on effective delegation, which is really going to be a very strange twist for us to be doing something different than Microsoft 365, but we hope you'll join us. I'm entering into the chat the links again if you want to sign up for it and see lots of other links to signing up for our YouTube channel, etc. And this is the QR code one more time. So perfect. I am going to stop share. And if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to unmute or enter them into chat. Any question's a good question. We're happy to help you on your journey.
We did get a question in here actually, and it's
a
great
yay.
one. I'm
glad
good. So it looks like this question from Pamela, and the question was, would this replace QuickBooks or other billing software as well? So in this case, when we're looking at dynamic CRM, dynamic sales, the tools I just showed you today would not replace QuickBooks. They would work in tandem or hand to hand together. So think of the dynamic CRM as your sales team is going through the sales process, going through the pipeline to say, are they interested? Let's move them up. Let's track it. Let's track the emails, keep them in. And as soon as they say, yep, they want to sign on the dotted line, you send out the invoice. Then when you're looking to bill them, that would switch over from Dynamics into something like QuickBooks so you can track it more on the financial level. So think of this as almost like the front end, kind of top level. QuickBooks, you would still need that in there for your billing, your left line, right item when you're tracking all of your financial accounts. Is there some connectivity between them? That's something that we can certainly look at. There are other tools within the Microsoft world that serve as your full, almost ERP, your entire environment, but that is something that takes a lot longer to implement. And most of the time when we're working with our clients, they're looking for more just that front end system here. So while Microsoft can do that, wouldn't be necessarily included, and you would still want QuickBooks on the side.
Perfect. Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Or Rafe, awesome job as always. You sold us like you always do on the power of Microsoft, so thank you.
And I don't want to put you on the carpet here, Jen, but you might be switching to Dynamics as well.
Yeah. Don't show our dirty laundry. I love it. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Hope to see you in a couple months, and thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.